प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरदात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमहं सगतिं तुरीयं यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः तपोभिक्षीणपापानां शान्तानां वीतरागिणां मुमुक्षूणामपेक्षोऽयम् आत्मबोधो विधीयते बोधोऽन्यसाधनेभ्यो हि साक्षान्मोक्षैकसाधनं पाकस्य वह्निवज्ञानं विना मोक्षो न सिद्ध्यति. We'll chant verse number 42 to 47. 43 to 47. Yeah. Verse number 43 to verse number 47. Chapter 6. तत्र तं बुद्धिसंयोगं लभते पौर्वदेहिकं यतते च ततो भूयः संसिद्धौ कुरु नन्दन पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते ह्यवशोऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्धकिल्बिषैः अनेकजन्म संसिद्धः ततो याति परां गतिम् तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद्योगी भवार्जुन योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मतः. Okay. Welcome everyone.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Utsav, Hari Om,
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Cool morning, winter morning Utsav.
Good morning. Good
Good
morning.
day.
Hari Om.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay. So we'll continue from where we left off in chapter 6. We're towards the end of chapter 6. Durgatim tat gacchati. Oh Arjuna, don't worry. Even if you don't reach the culmination of the journey, even if meditation flew over your head, even becoming a better person day by day, you will progress on this path and nature will support you. Nature will take you into environments that will aid your spiritual growth. You will be born into a family of peace and prosperity. If that's good enough for you, all well. But if you try harder, if you work harder, you'll be born into an environment of wise yogis. An environment of wise yogis is one where everybody, the focus, the primary motive is spiritual development and ultimately spiritual enlightenment. No other purpose. Everything else takes a backseat. What a pious environment. What a beautiful environment. This class is a congregation of yogis. I won't say wise yet. I don't know if we are wise yogis. A course at the academy is a congregation of wise yogis. You find yourself on a weekend course in an academy. You find yourself in some kind of a program, maybe in Rishikesh or some spiritual center where the emphasis is that. That's a congregation of wise yogis. You don't land there by choice. By you don't land there by chance. You land there by choice. Choices you have made in the past that draw you into an inclination. So this journey continues, O Arjuna. This journey didn't start with your birth. This is Aneka Janma. It's come through many lives. You've put the work in the past, and if you continue, you will propel further even more. So that's where we left off. Now, are there any questions? Yes, Rashmiji.
So I have actually 5 questions. So 2 from the verse 41. In the first 41, almost the second last verse. I'm going to. He will have enough wealth to accommodate all his physical and material needs. The meritorious actions of his past lives will have earned him the superlative state of material prosperity and mental peace. So meritorious actions, I can understand that it means the actions which are merit.
Yeah.
But what is superlative state of material prosperity and mental peace?
So in English grammar, superlative means something that tries to express the ultimate of something. The bestest waffle in all of town. The best avocado toast, bestest, right? So those terms with which we try to express the ultimate of anything is called superlative. So meritorious deeds earn you a superlative state of prosperity and peace. It's an ultimate. What more can you ask for? What more can an ordinary person ask for?
Why material prosperity?
Why not? People who come to the spiritual path should remain poor, should remain simple. See, we have this concept, and it's largely an Abrahamic concept of associating poverty with spirituality. Or if you're poor, you're serving God, and if you're not poor, it's a funny combination of religion, communism, and other, khichdi, God knows. But in our tradition, wealth is not demonized. What is demonized is attachment to wealth. Prosperity is not demonized. What is demonized is attachment and possessiveness to your possessions. So when you put in your effort on the spiritual journey, it says that nature supports you with an environment of material prosperity and mental peace, right? Why material prosperity? Because let's be honest, before material prosperity, you don't give two hoots about God. जब तक बैंक बैलेंस खाली लगता है तब तक भगवान सब छोड़ो भैया, काम पे लगो. Now I'm not saying how much you need. How much someone needs depends. Someone is happy with 10 lakhs, someone needs 1 crore, someone needs 10 crores. Someone even after a couple of thousands is not satisfied. I'm not saying how much. How much is depending on the individual person. That's the beauty. So Dama didn't need anything. But, and also, what is prosperity? Prosperity is also relative. It's not a certain number. If your wealth exceeds the quantum of your desires, you are prosperous. You won't have the worry of wealth. If your desires exceed your wealth, you'll feel poor. Even though you may be counting among, see, suppose I tell you, Rashmiji, I'm going to give you a salary of 50,000 rupees. 50,000? What will happen in 50,000 rupees? I'll be able to watch, now you go to the cinema hall, ticket is 500, popcorn is 500. 1,000 rupees gone out there only. Petrol will be 5,000 rupees. Suppose I want to have one nice dinner a week outside, 3,000 rupees per person, per meal. 12,000 gone there. You do the hisab, 50,000 rupees, nothing will happen. I need a higher salary. 50,000 rupees will place you among the top, 2% of Indians, 3% of Indians. So what are we talking? For some people, you tell someone living in the slum, 50,000 rupees. 50,000 rupees. I'm coming. I'll do anything for you. I'll do anything for you. Give me 50,000 rupees. So for someone who is at a certain level, 50,000 prosperity. It's a lot of prosperity. For some other people, 50,000 rupees feels like peanuts. So we're not talking about a quantum out here. Actually, prosperity is a mental state. If your desires exceed your wealth, you are poor. If your wealth exceeds your desires, you're rich, no matter how much that wealth. But the point is that you should be prosperous, and without prosperity, you'll be worried, anxious, stressed. Your thought will be distracted towards, it'll be a fear-driven state, right? So an environment of material prosperity actually supports your spiritual journey. Everything else is taken care of. What you need is taken care of. You may still be working, but you've got enough for a rainy day. Right? That's nature supporting you. Not for you to flaunt your wealth. Not for you to say, "Tu janta nahi mera baap kaun hai." Not for you to, throw your weight around saying how wealthy I am. No. For you to feel, okay, I don't need to worry about it. That percentage of thought, which would have otherwise gone into worry about how to sustain oneself, is taken care of. At least that is no longer a concern. So material prosperity is a big boon on the spiritual journey. Otherwise, how much of chinta is spent? Forget meditation, you won't even come close. You'll be worried about how to fix 2 square meals a day, right? So when you put in effort on the spiritual path, nature helps you with an environment which is conducive. Now, the fact that people don't use their conducive environment appropriately is a different question. The fact that most people turn egoistic with prosperity is a different problem. Most people, prosperity gets to the head. Most people see themselves as superior to others. That's a separate problem. But per se, material prosperity is a beautiful thing. I would wish it on each one of you. Sabki ghar mein Lakshmi aaye. Right? Next question.
Next question is from verse 42. So here in the second paragraph, he writes, he strives and struggles for the happiness of others. His benign actions will have already contributed much more to society than what he has drawn from it. His meritorious deeds earn him a home of peace and prosperity in his next life, as stated in. My point was, benign generally means like you use it for diseases and tumor and all kind of things. So what benign actions?
No, the other way around. I think diseases and the medical fraternity have adopted this word benign to convey a certain kind of a condition.
It's spread. That's
So, in the second category, a person pursuing the spiritual path works without selfish and egocentric desires. He visualizes an ideal to benefit his community, society, humanity at large. He strives and struggles for the happiness of others. His benign actions will have already contributed much more to society than he has drawn from it. Okay, so he's talking about a person. So, having talked about the three kinds of actions performed with selfish and egocentric motive, actions performed with unselfish desires, and actions without desires, selfless action. So, he's talking about the second category, which is actions with unselfish desires. So, a person who functions in society from an unselfish perspective, who has the primary intention is what can I give, how can I serve, how can I contribute. That's the default setting in such a person. His benign actions will have already contributed much more to society than he has drawn from it. So, what's your question?
question is why, what is the word benign here actually meaning? Because benign, I always thought means spreading, like it spreads and
No.
goes far.
Even when you use the term in cancer, malignant means something that is sort of cancerous and sort of detrimental, and benign means harmless in the medical term. I don't know if there's any other connotation, but my assumption out here when he uses this term is that he uses it in a friendly way, his friendly actions. Benign means friendly, malignant means harmful, right? So you can read it as he strives and struggles for the happiness of others. His friendly actions have contributed much more to society than he has drawn from it. Yeah.
Thank
Okay. So before you take the third question, now we'll go to Prachi and Ankit. We'll give a break. We'll come
Yeah.
back to you. Yeah. Last time I mentioned about Punya, no? So now she's obsessed with Punya. She wants so much of merit. She wants to enjoy the meritorious worlds of peace and prosperity. So she's asking five questions. I see through everyone. Yes.
So, yeah, just with these two verses,
Mm.
I mean, people, is the contrary also true? Like, people who are born in the home of the pure and the wealthy, have all of them done meritorious deeds in the past lives? And then, we read about the concept of vasanas as well, the vasanas that we are born with. So, I mean, how does this sort of align with that concept?
Yeah. See, look, my only caution to you would be that, see, in chapter 3, he says, karma is deep, gehera. It cannot be comprehended. Whether a certain environment is a boon or a curse is not really visible on the surface. Okay. So you can't make a one-to-one correlation. Oh, this is a good environment. This is not a good environment. Oh, they must have done good things. That's why they have come here. They must have not done good things. That's why they have come here. Right?
Yeah.
The general. So if you get into that calculation, it's impossible to deduce. Right? The general principle of karma, though, is that your environment is an outcome of a resultant. A khichdi. If you look at it from one dimension, sure, we can simplify it, but practically it's not a single dimension. There are so many dimensions, so many variety of experiences you go through in life, right? That beyond a point, you have to develop a spirit of surrender. That the good that has come to you, the seemingly good. See, a lot of times you think an experience is painful, but it actually ends up being perhaps the catalyst to your sort of growth. an experience that seems seemingly good ends up maybe, actually leading you down the wrong path in life, right? So your environment is a result of a variety of causes, a resultant essentially. There are hundreds of forces, thought forces, intentions that you have put in the past that have landed you out here, and they are best suited for your growth. That's the idea. We always feel that the grass is greener on the other side. We always look at other situations and others' experiences and others, positions in life, and maybe aspire for that or maybe crave that, right? Whereas the lesson out here is that wherever you have landed is not by chance, but through this deep and mysterious mechanic of life. Okay, so develop that spirit of surrender. Whatever comes to you, there's no need to run away from it. Neither is there a need to get carried away by it. Stay grounded. Have that sense of surrender, and with your buddhi, deal with the situation as demanded. Right? The God has also gifted you an intellect to think, reason, judge, decide, and deal with circumstances as need be. Right? So see, no environment is 100% good. No environment is 100% bad. With goodness also comes certain crises. With a difficult environment also comes maybe support systems that help you through that. Right? So it's
I mean, that's the thing, right? Perception also plays such an important role. There
100%.
might be people who are as privileged or more privileged than us who really are at pains with the environment. Like they don't
Suppose
feel
someone is gifted with a environment of prosperity, maybe even peace, but they don't use it. They turn arrogant about it. Uh, their their parents shower them with lavish gifts. They won't have to work another day in their life, and the same child does stupid things and ends up, destroying oneself. Would you call that a beneficial environment or a harmful environment? Not only perception, but your own choices in that scenario. Not only how you perceive your circumstances, but also the choices you make in those circumstances make a big difference. Right? But the general principle is that nature supports your journey. You put in the work, don't worry. You will land in more and more conducive environments. And neither is nature. See, we use the word nature, but actually there's no third entity. It's your own action, it's your own karma that is sort of the determinant out here. There's no third entity which is saying, oh, I like Ankit, I like the work he has done, I'm going to place him in a good environment. We like to think, oh, there is some God who's sitting and measuring all our actions, doing some chemistry with our karma, right? You are rewarded by your actions. You're not rewarded for your actions. Remember this. You're rewarded by your actions, not for your actions. If I say I'm rewarded for my actions, it implies that there's someone else who's observing my actions and rewarding me. But I am not rewarded for my actions. I am rewarded by my actions. The action itself is propelling the next effect. The action is the cause, the next circumstance is the effect. You get it? So neither is there a bias, neither is there a vindictiveness. Oh, I don't like Ankit, he's not done good work, I'm going to place him in a problematic environment. So the idea is that if you delve into, they call it the path of the sun and the path of the moon. What is the path of the moon? The path of the moon is a path of return, wherein you, for whatever effort you put in, you enjoy a certain benefit of it, but that benefit wears out, right? Say, for example, you put in physical effort or you put in material effort, right? But with a selfish motive. Sure, you enjoy the benefit of that. You'll enjoy a little bit of prosperity, you'll enjoy a little bit of fame. But is it sanatan? Is it everlasting? The effect of that wears off. So rather than looking at it from a positive or negative or a vindictive lens or a reward, I think a better way to view it is that you are rewarded by your actions, and each has a different, perhaps, depth of depth and sort of degree of experience, right? And the degree of experience, as you go subtler and subtler, if you invest in something emotionally, it yields sort of a larger dividend. If you invest in something spiritually, it yields the largest dividend of sorts, right? I like to look at it in that way rather than sort of adding one karma for another karma and saying, oh, he must have done something bad, he must have done something good. Even if you see someone struggling, yes, we know by the law of karma that their past actions have landed them in the environment. But here's the way I like to see it. The same karma has landed me in the environment around them. Why have I landed in the environment? To help them. Sitting and judging them, oh, they have deserved it. It's the silliest conclusion I can draw. The same karma that has landed them in that environment has also landed me in an environment around them. Why? So that I can support them through it, maybe. So this is not to go into some kind of a retrospective calculation of why and what has happened. It's to develop a spirit of surrender, because we try to control everything. Point is, it's beyond our control. A past version of us has landed us here. So neither can we control, but we also have to take accountability. We also have to take accountability of the circumstance and the situation we are in. We can't run away from it. So this theory of karma, while it is complex, it draws you to have that samarpan bhav. Okay, I accept, and I also acknowledge that I have everything to take me forward, right? That's the idea. I don't know if that was your question or that answers your question.
Okay. Thank you.
What's up? Just taking forward from this point itself, like when you say that someone who's born into material prosperity, if they don't use it well, if they are, if their parents spoil them or whatever, and they do stupid things with it. So then there's a question of choice of that particular person, because the same person could have a sibling who's born in the same environment and is using his gifts in a different way. So what is is there something propelling one person to act a certain way and the other to act a certain way, or is this just a matter of their own buddhi and choices?
It's a matter of your own buddhi. It's called purushartha. It's called purushartha. So at any point, if you turn complacent, see, the ego is just looking for a way to creep in. At every turn of your life, the ego is looking for a way to creep in, to take credit and to aggrandize and to come to the highlight, come to the forefront, right? So even on the spiritual journey, there are so many ways you can simply throw away all the good work you have done by turning complacent. That's why in that, I think it's a Greek mythology, it's the original story of Greek mythology, I don't know what it's called, but where they depict a man taking a boulder up a hill. Crazy guy. He takes a big boulder and people think in the village he's mad. Why? Because every morning he'll take a boulder up a hill. A boulder which you and I may not even be able to move. With all his strength, he's moving it up an incline and spends 3/4 of the day, from 7 in the morning to 5 in the evening, all the way pushing it up the hill. And then at 5 o'clock, he hits a gong so that everyone is aware. He gets everyone's attention. Everyone comes out of the house and looks up the hill. They see this man, whole day he spent pushing the rock up the hill. And now, what's he going to do? After he hits the gong and people come and take a look, all he does is he pushes that rock from
Yes.
over the hill. People think he's mad, but he's sending a deep message that you have put in so much effort. Spending all the day means spending countless lives to come to this place where you have everything that you could ask for. You have everything that your mind could ask for. Why? Only to support your ultimate journey, your next journey, your higher journey. But what do? You let the ego creep in and you throw it all away. You turn egoistic about it. You develop pride. And that's akin to throwing that rock off the cliff. Undoing all the effort, undoing all the work. It's a tragedy. Right? So, there's no guarantee that just because you have put in effort in the past, you are guaranteed of a certain outcome. If you do not sustain your efforts, or if you're not cognizant, which is why in the Upanishads it said, attachment to ignorance is darkness, but attachment to knowledge, attachment to wealth, attachment to prosperity is deeper darkness. Because if you let the ego creep into that, not only wealth, suppose I even in knowledge, I know my philosophy, my ideas, they don't know what they're talking about. What is that? The ego is creeping into knowledge as well. So the ego is just looking for that wherever you let in, wherever you become complacent. In the devotional path, they say that you cannot attain enlightenment without the grace of the Lord. Right? What that ends up translating is that you can never lose your sense of surrender and devotion to the higher. You have to always humble yourself. Always humble yourself. Because ultimately, if you think, okay, I got it, I know what I'm doing, you've lost it all. So, reinforcing that humility, reinforcing that spirit of surrender, that simplicity is very important. Even more important as you gain more health, wealth, fame, knowledge, whatever. Yes, Rashmiji, you can ask.
Actually, my two questions are very related to Ankit and Prachi, so I can tell you the question, but my question was also that can we blame our environment because we are the ones who choose it? This was one question, and the second was also this only, that compared to the worldly bliss, the spiritual bliss is internal. Then why in the same environment to third was
what was the second question?
Second question was compared to worldly bliss, spiritual bliss is eternal. Then why a person of the same environment chooses worldly bliss and another one chooses spiritual bliss?
Why does a child choose candies over cash? Suppose I tell you right now, Rashmiji, suppose you land up in Rishikesh. Suppose, live example. Rashmiji, you have an option. Gita class in the evening, or a fabulous spa and dinner at the Taj? गीता क्लास बहुत हो गया, थोड़ा ताज भी एंजॉय कर लेते हैं.
नहीं, गीता क्लास और कोई दूसरे टाइम में कर लेते हैं.
हाँ, दूसरे टाइम
नहीं
में.
सर, YouTube पे कर लेंगे. I
हाँ,
think
YouTube में कर लेंगे. What makes you choose material bliss over spiritual bliss? Your own values, what you want, your own desires make you choose it. You see, okay, this is giving me, this will. Let's be real, यार. हाँ. So आपको लड्डू कहाँ दिखते हैं? जिसको जहाँ लड्डू दिखते हैं वो वहीं भागता है. बोलने के लिए spiritual is the highest, it's the highest. But for whom? It's like a grossly material person. They don't care about emotions. उनको पैसा दिखा दो. A hedonist. What is a hedonist? A hedonist is one who doesn't care about the higher. They only want pleasure, sensual pleasure, material pleasure. No emotional commitment, no sacrifice. So whatever you value, you follow. Eternal, all this is nonsense. It's all cooked up. That's what they'll say. This is all created by people to control you. See, you should sometimes get into a conversation with a cutter atheist or a cutter hedonist, Charvaka, they call it. They'll talk like this. Listen, I know you spent half your life studying all this in the morning. What has it got you? What has it got you? All of this is just to brainwash you. They'll say that like that. So, आपको जहाँ लड्डू दिखते हैं आप वही फॉलो करते हो. And to each your own. Very important lesson to learn. Please don't try to hurt other people. Lift yourself. That's it. Rituji, yes. Achha, sorry, before that, you had one more question. Can we blame our environment, circumstances, because we are the ones who create it? Look, sometimes people take the flip side also. They become very, they hear all this thing about karma and then they start blaming themselves for everything. That's also ego. What is required in any situation is your objectivity. Yes, your own karmas have landed you in the circumstance, but sitting and blaming yourself for it and absolving the other person is not going to help you get out of the circumstance. In any circumstance, look, we are not glorifying suffering. You don't deserve to suffer. The same karma which has got you into certain circumstances also gifted you with a buddhi to deal with it. So please use your buddhi. Also, you may have gotten into a circumstance and another person may actually be the perpetrator of that in that circumstance. So it's not that, they are completely, they can sort of wash their hands of the situation. It's complex. The idea is not to just blame yourself and not blame others. Idea is not to get into a blame game. Okay. Understand that the other person with their nature, is a victim of their own nature and is doing things which may be hurting you. Also understand that, okay, this hurt is also coming perhaps out of as a consequence of a lot of things that I have done in the past. But my focus out here right now is that I don't need to suffer. No suffering is important. So use my buddhi to deal with the situation as is. Not to consider myself merely a victim, neither to sit and blame the other person and curse the circumstances. Okay. I'm not interested in why this has happened with me. Forget that. Why has it happened with me? That's not important. It's happened because it's happened. Right? Once you deal with that garbage which comes up in your head, then you're able to deal with the actual situation. Okay. Now from here, what? And use your buddhi to deal with the situation. So instead of blaming a circumstance or blaming yourself, both are stupidity. Why blame? What's the need to blame? None of this is an eternal consequence. Everything is a stepping stone to your next journey. Steer yourself to the higher. Free yourself from suffering. That should be the focus. Yes, Rituji.
Namaste, Ustadji. So, one thing just from what you just said, why this has happened with me. So, from here, if whenever you have the times, I would please request you to explain this concept about why we choose what we have, or the people that we place in our lives. This is something that I have heard very often, but not understood. So, whenever you can shed a little light on
Everything
this.
is not made to order. You can put in your request. I want a husband like this. I want a child like this. I want a mother-in-law like this. But God does some khichdi and some improvisation. So it's not exactly what you wanted. It's slightly different, but mota moti is what you wanted. I'm half joking.
No, I get it. I get it. Yes, but they say that you have lessons to learn, and that there are people you place in your lifetime because you choose and you decide who's going to be your let's say relative or your husband or your son or your mother, father, likewise. So anyway, that's one line of thought that always confuses me. That how does that happen actually? That mechanism. I mean, how can it happen? Is what I wonder often. And of course, I wanted to ask one thing about Sudama you mentioned. So Sudama, in which, like you mentioned, would we, I mean, in a situation that he was, I mean, they say that अगर आप बहुत evolved हो, let's say, or this brings us to this one question that if you are on your way up on your journey of evolution and you're quite there, even then can you be in that kind of a scenario where you don't have 2 square meals of your day? Because I believe Bhagavad Gita mentions that, that anyway, yes, sorry.
So look, my question, I'll just reiterate what I said in the beginning of class to Ankit's question about, how does it work? Your first question was, how does it work? You can't understand it. And if anyone is claiming to know and telling you how it works, they are just Rituji, 6 lives ago, it came in my dream that this you did. 4 lives ago, this is how you filled it up. But 2 lives ago, again, this happened. If you want to go down that road of trying to do past life regression and stuff like that, I'm not for it, I'm not against it. You do what you want. And a lot of people claim to know, okay, how karma will work, and but for a scientifically minded person like me, I can't swallow that. And ultimately, it's not important also, because what is the importance of this theory of karma, this theory of reincarnation? As I said to Ankit in the beginning of classes, that you develop a spirit of surrender. That is very important. ये सब हिसाब किताब मिला करके, पास्ट के बारे में जान करके, मैकेनिक्स को समझ करके, ultimately what should you land at? Ultimately you need to land at an idea, land at a realization of surrender, that this is what I've been given. Okay.
Yes, I understand. I was just curious from the theoretical point of view, because it's been said with clarity by many gurus time and again. So I was just wondering.
Different Puranas. See, the Upanishads will never say it. But then students like us come and ask such questions, and so maybe the Puranas will throw some stories, it's like some sauce, right? So various Puranas talk about, and various sort of texts talk about what happens to a soul after, you know, after death, and what happens to a sukshma sharira upon birth. How much time is taken between lives, you know, and there are various philosophies and various theories, right? Um, and depending on the kind of person, you know, people believe certain things, they don't believe certain things. And he says this very clearly in the Vedanta treatise. Swamiji says it very clearly in the Vedanta treatise that all of those details, if you need it, okay, read the text, but that's not important. Ultimately, what is important, the conclusion of all of this is, okay, I accept my circumstances. You have accepted your circumstances, you know, going around and around and around, or you can say, I accept my circumstances. Kate kanta dhanagata chinta vatulakim tava nasti nihanda. What is your worry about your wealth and your wife and your position in your circumstance? Don't you know there is an ordina? Don't you know there is a divinity that's shaping your ends? Don't you know that there is an unseen hand that seems to make all of this work? If you don't, and you have so many doubts, sure, go through all the texts and go through all the sources and stuff like that. But the moment you develop that spirit of surrender, that bhakti bhavna, all these questions will dissolve. Now, you can't force this bhakti bhavna, right? But I'm saying that the long and winding road we come to, eventually it culminates in this. Okay, I accept my circumstances. I accept what has been given to me. Because only then is the starting point with which one can go ahead. Otherwise, we'll always be in a dispute. Why has this happened to me? This shouldn't have happened to me. I got worse than what I gave. कितना हिसाब करोगे? क्या हिसाब करोगे? That's why apohanam, forgetfulness. I make you forget. He says in the Bhagavad Gita. I am the loss of memory. Why? Because अगर सब कुछ याद रहता आपको, अभी भी आप हिसाब कर रहे होते. अगर आपको 5 जन्म तक याद रहता, सपोज ऋतु जी, कि क्या क्या किया आपने, क्या किया, क्या मांगा, क्या सोचा, क्या चाहा, क्या पाए, क्या नहीं पाया, अभी तक हिसाब कर रहे होते. 40 years into this life you'll be like, अच्छा but last 200 years ago तो I did this, but why am I apohan, forget it. And accept, okay, all of that khichdi, the result is this. That's it. As far as Vedanta is concerned, we don't go into further details. Yah pashyati saha pashyati. If you see it, you see it. Short answer to your question is, I don't know. I don't know how it works. Right? And there are texts, and maybe you can research yourself, and maybe I can also look into it if there are certain, but it's an endless pit.
No, so thank you, because again, I don't think I even want to, do that hisab kitab for sure. That was not the idea or concern for the question. It is just like to understand, when you are trying to understand a theory and you're trying to study about it, and this is a question that's often asked and said, and people very often say that you choose your relations and you choose what is here. So my question is that, do you choose them, or they are placed in your life for your life lessons? So that is my only simple question, just to understand. I mean,
what's the difference?
No, there might not be any. There might not be any. But I can't understand
the second question,
yes,
or the second statement, almost posits that, there is some entity placing it for your lesson, or there is some entity that is wanting to teach you a lesson or show you some lesson, right?
Okay.
As far as Vedanta is concerned, it says there is no such third entity that is, placing you or placing these people in your life. This is the complex web of karma. The complex web of karma is that lives intersect because of shared karmas, and then they diverge because karmas take them in different directions, right? So everything you meet and greet, you are a lesson for them, they are a lesson for you, but they have come into your sort of trajectory only momentarily, and so have you come into their trajectory only momentarily in this long and winding journey of life, right? So create beautiful memories, do your best, but remember that they came unannounced, and so you also eventually will have to let them go. If you learn that much, you'll be far, far ahead in life.
Okay. Time for one.
No, we are not going to finish chapter 6. Rashmi, you had another question. Might as well.
Well, this seems like a very unimportant question compared to the other ones, but it is. I wanted to know what is yoga bhrashta. And
Yoga bhrasht means fallen from yoga, right? Bhrasht ho jana matlab sort of failing, right? So failing in yoga, or falling from sort of the ultimate sort of achievement. So yoga rudha is one who is established in yoga. Yoga bhrashta means one who hasn't been able to achieve the ultimate, the conclusion of yoga. So in that sense, we are all yoga bhrasht. But he's saying there's no worry. Don't worry about yoga bhrashta, because actually there is nothing called falling from yoga. Your whole life is a yoga. It's about whether you're taking a straight path or a winding path. In essence, Krishna's response to Arjuna is that there's no such thing as falling from yoga. You never fall. You can never fall. Yeah.
One small thing I'll ask also.
Who's this? Rashna ji.
Rachna. Yeah.
Yes. I think we have, well, just one second. There's one more Richa. Who's Richa? Hi, Richa.
Hi, Utsav. I'm Mr. Om Seth's daughter.
Hi, Richa ji. Yes.
Yes. So I just had a question. This is in reference to you said that develop the attitude of humility and bhakti and surrender. So that is my effort most of the time, and it just makes me go. I'm more in flow of life when I'm in that state. But sometimes what happens is suddenly there is a surge of, maybe something suppressed comes up. Suddenly, pata nahi kya ho gaya ye, that anger comes up, or that guilt comes up. It just pops up like a pop-up. And I just get like, disturbed. So then I don't know what happens. And sometimes I feel, ye
देखिए
kya ho
भक्ति
gaya?
मार्ग में जो है ना, भक्ति मार्ग
Yeah.
में, just like in the Jnana Marg, it's very important to study daily. It's very important to be consistent in your sadhana. So किसी भी मार्ग में sadhana is very important, because yes, we all have momentary experiences, or we all have passing experiences, or we all have an affinity to spirituality in a certain way. But until and unless there is a constant and consistent sadhana, we are not able to sustain that experiences in all circumstances. And if you're saying that in a challenging circumstance, or there are waves of, where you get sort of derailed, it only indicates, and this is not a blame. I'm not blaming anyone on it, but it only indicates that the sadhana is, because sadhana is meant to help you remain on track even when the challenging circumstances are there,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So in the Jnana Marg, the sadhana is Swadhyaya, daily study. In the Bhakti Marg, and when I say these margas, we have to follow all margas essentially. Karma, Bhakti, Jnana. In the Bhakti Marga, there is a sadhana of puja, path, bhajan, jap,
Yeah.
right? So do you have someone guiding you? Do you have a deity? Are you doing japa?
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing jap, there's no way anything can touch you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say my point was कि उस time पे हम क्या करें?
अरे मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ ना, वो टाइम देखिए, ये जो भगवत गीता है ना, वो 11th आवर में जो भगवान ने जो ज्ञान दिया है अर्जुन को, दिस इज एक्चुअली इम्पॉसिबल. नोबडी कैन लर्न इन द 11th आवर ऑफ बैटल. नोबडी कैन लर्न इन द height of a certain challenging situation. When there's a challenging situation, drink a glass of cold water and try to cool yourself down.
Okay. Okay.
Because all lessons can only be learned when you are sitting like
Um,
this quietly in a classroom and having the time to reflect, contemplate, question.
okay.
When, as they say in English, when shit hits the fan, that's not the time to learn.
Yeah,
Right?
correct.
So when you're going through a certain, uh, sort of a distracted state or something that's, a lot of doubt, a lot of anxiety or whatever, drink a glass of cold water and find emotional support that will help you calm down. Once you're
Okay.
calmed down, that's when you have to take up sadhana. And sadhana is what will essentially avoid such circumstances from even arising.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
If you're intellectually oriented, daily study. There is no way if you begin your day with such thoughts. If you begin your day with 1 hour of question answer, like this, there's no day that you'll have or there's a lesser chance that you will, have a morose day or you'll have a sort of a distracted day,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Thank you. Yeah.
Your sadhana will set the tone for, and carry you through all of life circumstances. Yes, Rituji.
Yes, so about that question, Sudama's question
Ah,
that had asked you then.
ah.
So how would one see Sudama in terms of his state of evolution? I mean,
For
आपने कुछ
someone who
बोला तो
values wealth, for someone who values material money, they'll see Sudama's situation and feel very sad. But for someone who values bhakti, they'll see Sudama's situation and feel very jealous.
true.
It's all about what you see.
Yeah, so if you're that yeah. So yes, there is no one formula, which is to say that so you might not have bread and butter, but you might be still very evolved. Okay.
And there are hundreds of, see, we only hear of gurus and sages who come to the forefront and the limelight, right? Who we can scroll through on Instagram.
Yes.
There are hundreds and thousands of sages who are living in this land, serving 1 billion people in small communities with nothing.
True.
They just need some rice and water.
Very well.
People in the
Also,
villages are not necessarily following Sadguru, right?
true.
Nothing wrong with Sadguru. They have their own guru.
Mm.
That's the vibrancy of this land. That's the Guru Shishya Parampara and the hundreds of sampradayas which are sort of everywhere. And it's pulsating throughout this land. And gurus of all shapes and sizes, of all material statuses, of all backgrounds, of all natures. What do you see in them is the question. If you value
true.
money, you'll see, oh, so sad. I should do more for them. But if you value spiritual evolution, you'll want to be them. Right? You say, I want their state of mind. Right?
Which I often wonder actually. When I see a lot of people who are working like manual labor and other people, how happy their disposition is sometimes,
See,
So
we are not glorifying poverty at all. Don't get me
no,
wrong.
of course not. Of course not.
It's
Yes.
not that, as I said in the beginning of the class also, material prosperity is a great boon. So if you can be gifted with more, I wish for more. But at the same time, in the same breath, I said material prosperity is actually a state of mind. It's not a quantum of wealth. Prosperity is a state of mind. You decide for yourself what your quantum is. And once having decided, set your standard and try to live within your means. The problem is we look at others and we want to always exceed our means. We want to live on EMIs and loans. We want to catch up to other standards. That's always what makes us feel the lack of prosperity. That's always that's why we say, please Lakshmi come, please Lakshmi come. Lakshmi is like, I'm already there. How much more of me do you want? Lakshmi is endless.
This is one last thing that I'd like to please ask is about that Greek mythology example that you shared. Someone going uphill with the boulder and dropping down the boulder. So I just wanted to clarify, the throwing down of the boulder is the throwing down not of the ego. I mean, आपने दूसरी तरह से उसको समझाया.
No, it's throwing down of, it's wasting your opportunity, wasting your efforts, right? So it's actually the ego creeping in and diluting all your efforts. So it's not throwing down your ego. It's not the sort of the highest achievement, essentially. It's actually wasting of your efforts, wasting of all your sadhana by allowing the ego to creep in, allowing attachment to creep in, allowing arrogance to creep in.
Okay.
And arrogance and attachment can creep in at any level. You can become attached to your spiritual knowledge. You can become attached to your achievements. You can become attached to, see, Swami Chinmayananda had mentioned this story where long and short of it, sages who had given up everything, only they had a chatai in the Himalayas. They only had like a chatai and a few other possessions. They became attached to the chatai. And they became attached to where the chatai will be placed. Hey, this is my place under the sun. You've given up your mansions, but you become attached to that small piece of rock where the sun lands, and you say, my chatai will be placed there. You're a new sage, you go and stay, in that shaded area. So attachment at any point is possible. And that's symbolic of throwing down, wasting away your efforts. Yes, Chetna ji. Guys, I'm happy to conclude. And if you want to stay, I'm here to stay. Right, Chetna ji?
Utsav ji, I have a question. You said that I'm rewarded by my actions, not for my actions, but the fact that I'm able to do actions is my reward. I understand that and I agree. I mean,
that's not what we mean. You are rewarded by your action means your action is the cause and the consequence is the effect. What we mean is there is no third entity, there is no God who's sitting and measuring, okay, this action, this result. It's sort of an autonomous process. The action itself is the cause, the result itself is the effect. That's what we mean by you're rewarded by your action, not for your action. There's no someone who's saying, oh, for this action, I will give this result. The action itself is the cause, the result itself is the effect.
Okay, I'll think about it. Thank you.
Was that the question?
My question was, I thought my action is my reward because I'm rewarded by my actions. So what is the difference? Because in the Bhagavad Gita, we say that we put in our actions as a sacrifice in the kund of sacrifice, and the result that we get is our reward. So I was now I will think about it more. I thought there is a difference between what you said today, that I am rewarded by my actions, and the thing that they say in the Gita. But now I'll think about what you said now.
Your present action is a result of your past action. In a sense, your present circumstances, which is enabling you to perform certain actions, is a result of your past actions. So your past actions have led to your present circumstance. and present capacity and present preoccupations and your present choices in this circumstance, in these, so your present actions will lead to your future circumstances. So the action itself is the cause. We are only indicating that this was in response to Ankit's question, where there's no one who is, or there's no third entity, there's no God that is per se, or there's no person God, there's no personality God that is sitting and measuring and sort of equating and giving you a reward. No, your action itself is the cause. Your action itself, your intention itself determines the effect. Yes, Balaji, good to see you here. I have not seen you here for a while. Is there a question in the...
Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Sutraji. The point is that since I'm going for a job, the traveling is happening when the classes are going. So I put it on mute or I listen to that after the class is over. Thank you very much. The question I want to ask is that it relates to... Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yep.
Okay, fine. The question I want to ask is that in terms of the action, there is a result for which I act. Let's say if I'm a student, now I want to get 100% or school first or whatever it may be, right? I want to achieve some higher grades. So the thought process in that particular thing should be like, I should keep that in my mind, I should work for it, but having written the examination, I should be free from my anxiety. Is it what the whole thing is all about?
The whole thing, Mane? The whole Bhagavad Gita?
No, I'm talking about the Karma Yoga.
So is the whole Karma Yoga about
See, a goal,
performing
let's say
my
I want to get
action
the...
and letting go of the thought of the result? That is the result of Karma Yoga. When you truly perfect Karma Yoga, the path of Karma Yoga, what is the result? What is the effect? What kind of person do you become? You become a person who understands Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You understand, you embody the spirit of my right, my adhikar is in my action alone. The result, whatever will happen, will happen. Famous words of Mark Antony in Julius Caesar after he set the mob on fire through his words. He set the mob on fire through his words. He said, "Mischief thou art afoot. Mischief thou art afoot. Take thou what course thou wilt. Now take whatever course you will." The idea is, I have done my action. I am doing what I'm supposed to do. I am playing the role I'm supposed to play in the circumstance. If I'm a teacher, I'm teaching. If I'm a preacher, I'm preaching. If I'm a father, I'm nurturing. If I'm a mother, I'm doing this. If I'm a business person, I'm doing whatever action I'm doing. If I'm an employee, I'm doing a certain kind of action. And having done my action to the best of my abilities, leaving no stone unturned, with beauty, with grace, with perfection, with attention to detail, with dakshata. With dakshata means with skill and dexterity. Performing action with all such attention to detail and perfection, letting go of the worry about the result. That state, that mental state, is the result of Karma Yoga. Was that your query?
No, I got your answer, but sorry, again, one more clarification. Like,
Yep.
let me break it to make myself clear.
Yep.
One is it that I need a goal to work.
Yep.
Right? Let's say let's talk in the business terms. Okay, I want to achieve certain target. Now, target is my goal of the business, right? Now I work for the target. So target needs to be there. Number two, I need to work, as you said, using my skills, whatever the Bhagavad Gita says, dexterity and other things to achieve that particular goal. So that is the motivating factor for me to act on that particular field. And then having done that particular activity, I should not be anxious about the results, right?
Sure.
Okay. Now, this is what Karma Yoga is all about, correct?
Sure.
So how do you say that is the mindset or the result of the Karma Yoga? And that's where I'm not able to get it.
That
Letting go
is
of the
the
result. Please.
you see, the path is the goal. You try to practice this in karma yoga. When you achieve the fruit of karma yoga, essentially, when you achieve when you perfect yourself in karma yoga, this is what your mindset becomes. This is how you become as an individual. That's all I'm saying, right? That you become resolved to the you develop this conviction that all I need to do, having pitched up a goal, having pitched up a certain target in mind, my job is to simply do my part, play my role. Sure, I may be the main actor in this, I may have the largest contribution. Let me do that to the best of my ability and leave the rest, leave the results to nature, leave the results to this complex web of karma, because there are so many things beyond my control. I can only do my part. That's what you become. That's
So
how
that
you
comes out. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
that's how you become as a person. Yeah, you're asking, you're clarifying.
So, okay, one step going ahead, I understand. Now, I understand my limitation, number one, in the whole result of an activity. Number two, I also understand the total system, how it works. I'm talking about, when I talk about the total system, the law of karma or the force which takes the word. As I see, I am able to see there is an order in the word, or at least I'm relatively convinced there is an order in the word. So I'm only a co-author, I'm not the sole author. So that comes after an understanding, right? So that understanding will enable me to reduce my results on the action. Am I right?
That understanding will help you to reduce your obsession about the result of the action. That
Agreed.
understanding will help you focus that, okay, the best I can do is my effort,
Right.
and maybe shape the circumstances to some extent. But beyond that, even what is my goal? See, as you go ahead in karma yoga, you even realize that even your goal is not necessarily, either life will give you even more than what you could have conceived at the beginning of your karma, or your horizons will sort of go beyond what you could have conceived at the beginning of your action, right? So even surrendering that, you realize that even my goal will be determined by sort of new avenues that open up. My job out here is simply to do what I'm designed to do.
Agreed.
I need to even give up my obsession about the goal. The goal itself will,
No,
a
Saji,
a
sorry.
little bird will come and tell me what my goal is.
No, Saji, the absence of a goal, see, the absence of a tangible, I'm talking exactly with reference to my level of growth.
Yeah.
In the absence of a material goal or a goal for which I act, it is not giving a motivation for me to act.
Yeah, correct. I'm taking a step ahead. So forget what I just
I'm getting
said. The
I'm
goal
getting
itself, the goal is the primary motivator for action. Without a goal, there'll be no karma. Without a desire for a certain outcome, without a goal, there'll be no action. So crystallizing your desire into an aim, a goal, a tangible outcome that you can conceive, that is the first step of channeling your karma. Otherwise, without that, it's all like sort of wasted energy, right? Misdirected energy.
Thank you, Saji. Thanks.
Okay, with that thought, we'll conclude today. Thank you so much, and we'll take up chapter 6 in the next class. Hari Om. Have a good day. See you day after tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you so much.